Good afternoon. Welcome to the August 12th, 2026 Lenawee County Board of Commissioners meeting. We'd like to welcome everyone. Glad to see a nice crowd here today. I'd ask everyone if they would please rise, and we'll have the invocation offered by our Commissioner and Deputy Chairman Commissioner Krasny, and which will be followed by the pledge by Deputy Clerk Mrs. Zubke. So Commissioner Krasny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For those that are willing, please bow your heads with me. Thank you, dear Lord, for bringing us together, us elected officials, committee folks and employees of the county, and some wonderful residents that you bless us with. Please guide us today. Give us discernment. Please make sure that our decisions represent your values well. Make sure that we are accountable and transparent to the constituents of our communities. Please look after us and our residents today and every day. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mrs. Zubke. Corporate Counsel is attending via Zoom. Would the Deputy Clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Stimson,
Here.
Commissioner Tillotson,
Here.
Commissioner Van Doren,
Here.
Commissioner Ungst,
Here.
Commissioner Blanco. Here. Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Daly, Commissioner Krasny,
Here.
Commissioner Martis,
Here.
8 present.
Approval of the minutes of July 8th, 2026 would be in order.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Blanco, supported by Commissioner Ungst. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Petitions and communications. Anybody?
I have one. Resolution allocation, it's a resolution for Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners, resolution allocating 500,000 of Washtenaw County undesignated allocation to Planned Parenthood of Michigan. That's all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't adopt the agenda.
Sorry. Thank you about that.
There are no additions to the agenda. I would move that we accept them as printed.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tillotson to adopt the agenda, supported by Commissioner Martis. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Agenda is set. Thank you for that, Commissioner Martis. Introduction and special guests. Anybody? Thank you. Limited public comment on agenda items. Have 3 minutes. Please address the commission. And we'll call up Mark Crane. Would like to talk about intervenor funds. We'll speak. Could you turn your microphone on there and give us your residency?
Okay, we're back on now? Okay.
Residence?
My name is Mark Crane. I'm a Palmyra Township trustee. I live in Palmyra. I have lived there for a long, long time. Anyway, I know you have on your agenda today the opportunity to vote on whether or not you're going to use possible intervenor funds on behalf of Deerfield and Blissfield Townships. In Palmyra Township, we have a project that has been proposed by RWE that will affect approximately 2,000 acres of our farmland. Our residents have been struggling against this for the past 8 to 10 years. We actually had a referendum vote not too long ago, and that was a 75% of the residents that voted not to have green energy in their township. I feel morally and ethically obligated as a board member to follow what the residents want, okay? I know, again, Blissfield and Deerfield have passed a resolution to ask you. We had one ready to go at our last board meeting. We chose to wait on that because RWE has temporarily suspended their application at the MPSC level. So we're in a wait and see mode to see what they're going to do before we take our next step. But if indeed you vote on this today and pass that, we will be bringing a resolution to you also. We had a lot of board discussion about that, and I can assure you that 100% of our board will be signing that resolution to bring to you to ask you to intervene. We got our 75,000. We have used most of that up. And there's also the flavor of the board that if and when that money is gone, we're not going to be able to defend ourselves anymore. We really need you to help us out. Some scuttlebutt that I've heard around is that it's possibly talked about that this is not legal. They want you to understand, I've checked this out. Legal counsel has told me Sinilac County, Genesee County, Livingston County, Muskegon County have all already done this. Precedence has already been set in those counties. Livingston County, as a matter of fact, is their legal representation is the same legal representation as the Michigan Association of Counties. They put their stamp of approval on this also. This is a legal thing. We ask you desperately. We really need you to help us out and help the townships out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Melissa Bernor.
Hi, I'm Melissa Bernor. I'm the Deerfield Township Clerk since being appointed in April of 2025. Prior to that, I spent 20 years in local journalism, worked in the ag industry for approximately 6 years. Ag has supported my household for the last 33 years. And looking back over the last 3 generations, my family, we have well over 100 years of service to this county, our local communities and schools. So I come from this, position. I care about what happens here. And I've heard all the arguments for and against utility scale solar in our community, both as the clerk and working in journalism. And I see merits on both sides of the issue, but I want to touch on 3 today. And as Mark said about Palmyra Township, they've been struggling as long as we have, about 8 to 10 years with this issue in our township. You're going to hear their argument of this is a land rights issue. Landowners should be able to do with what they want with their property. You know, if a landowner wanted to put a solar array on his property to power up his own operation, I don't think there'd be this much concern. But what this is doing is it's becoming part of the public utility, and which we all depend on. And I think it's worth vetting and questioning it. Secondly, agriculture is one of the economic pillars of the entire Lenawee County community, generating over $341 million per year, and much of that staying in the community and employing more than 3,000 of our people locally, not just on the farm, but many ag-related industries, not to mention non-ag related businesses and professionals that count on it as part of their bottom line. Blissfield and Deerfield Townships have some of the most fertile prime farmland in the state, maybe even arguably the world. We grow diverse commodities of market crops with some of the biggest family-owned farms in the county. We are home to the largest cabbage producer east of the Mississippi. We have an apple orchard in Deerfield Township that raises more than 400 acres of fruit trees. Several acres of our communities are used in the production of seed corn and beans used by farmers in the state and other parts of the country. Blissfield and Deerfield Townships are a big reason why this county ranks first in many areas of production. This project would take approximately 18% of the farm ground in Deerfield and Township, along with a portion of Blissfield Township, and additionally the acreage in Palmyra, if that comes through. Less available ground means farm rents and land prices go up, making it difficult for other farmers to get a foothold. My third concern is quality of life. If younger people can't get a foothold in the business, what will the future look like here? They maybe have to go elsewhere, take their skills and raise families. It won't just affect our 2 local townships. It will have a countywide effect. There are more than 25,000 acres of proposed solar and more for wind that could potentially take 10% of the open land. I'm just asking the commission to affirm their yes vote from the Ways and Means Committee last month and agree to intervene in the process. This protects not only what you may think are the anti-solar people, but also the landowners that have agreements, as well as the entire community. It also protects the county's interest. I see no problem by voting yes on this matter, only if you vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know we don't comment on presentations, but that cabbage makes some of the best sauerkraut you'll ever have. So
I agree.
Joe Ryan on intervener. Comments?
Good afternoon. My name
Afternoon.
is Joe Rini. I'm from Macon Township. I live at 9605 Tangent Road. I am on the Board of Trustees at Macon Township. I got a couple of emails, one from Commissioner Martis, one from Commissioner Van Dorn. And this is an important enough issue that I wanted to come speak today. Within that, it says that the intervener can be an affected local unit. I'm not sure how you define yourselves, but I think you're an affected local unit when you think about what's going on in Lenawee County. It also specifies that the county would support township concerns and any additional issues. There are many. So any support would be greatly appreciated. Commissioner Blanco's district, we're aware of 2 wind developers and at least 1 solar company leasing ground. I'd like to clarify. Normally, those aren't leases, they're easements. And it's an easement that the landowner's signing, and if they begin work within 7 years, then the company can renew for another 25. And if they do something else, they can renew for another 25. So those people are bought in for 57 years of easement. And the solar easement says they can remove anything on your property that creates shade. Called a house. So this is a much bigger issue in my mind, but making sure local governments have an opportunity to advance their concerns. That's what we've done in Macon Township for 6 years. So I'd implore you to vote yes, because the false claims, the noise emissions, farmland impacts, ignoring issues of the residents has gone on for years where I live. By the way, it's not agricultural. It's industrial. Even though we call it a farm, they call that monstrosity on Michigan Avenue a barn. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Roger Johnson on intervening.
Good afternoon. I'm on the Deerfield Planning Commission, and I want to tell you what you're going to get into if you agree to intervene. The deck is stacked against us, all of us. If you remember, the first thing that our current governor did when she assumed office in 2019 was to change the definition of PA 116. Here we've got a Michigan standard that is intended to preserve farm ground. And the executive order said, yeah, but solar and wind and battery storage is okay on farm ground, taking it out of production, every bit as much as a subdivision would or anything else. Before the ink was dry in that document, we had developers in the township. The first group came in was backed by Spain. They got 1 resident to sign a lease, 1. All the other lease ground is people from out of the township, people from out of the county, people from out of the state, not farmers, land investors. The current developer is out of Denmark, majority owned by the government of Denmark. So we're up against King Frederick X. The second largest investor in this company is out of Norway, King Harald V. And both companies are fossil fuel backgrounds who have diversified into this area to be able to harvest the tax credits that cover 30% of their costs. The project in our area is close to $300 million, and the tax credit's $100 million. And you look at where that $100 million came from, it's us in our taxes and our electric rates. This is an absolute David versus Goliath fight. When you pit the government of Norway, the government of Denmark, and some of our public officials against Deerfield Township, I can't tell you what we've spent. And our endeavor is to protect our agricultural economy, as has been said. Michigan State study in 2020 said the hit is $65 million. While the developer's saying, well, we're going to put in 30 million. The second thing is the quality of life of our residents. Their sound study is wrong. 46 of our residences are impacted by noise above tolerable standards. We welcome your help.
Thank you. Those are the last forms that I had. Was there anybody else speaking on an agenda item? Public comment. Thank you. Resolutions and proclamations.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry. Okay. You have a fill out a form there too when you get through, please. Will you go ahead and make the presentation?
Where's the form? This?
Yeah. You can do it, John, afterwards. Go ahead with your presentation.
My name is John Kane. I'm here representing Lenawee Broadcasting Company in Southeastern Michigan Media, licensees of the Lenawee County radio stations. The studio building in the city of Adrian and tower sites in Palmyra, Fairfield, and Adrian Township. Our broadcast signals require line of sight, not only from our studios to the towers, but between the towers themselves. Studio transmission links known as STLs. Any obstructions in the line of sight would cause us to completely lose the ability to broadcast. Even the smallest errors in technical calculations of communication paths would be an obstruction in the path, putting community at risk of not being able to receive vital emergency service information. We have secured the services of a consulting engineering company and of course our federal communications attorney to protect our interests. We encourage the county to do whatever is necessary to protect vital communication paths to protect the citizens of Lenawee County. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on agenda items? Thank you. Resolutions, proclamations, overdose awareness and recovery month will be presented by Commissioner Martis. Is there anybody here representing them? Come on up, please come up.
Make us all squish in the end for pictures. So is this on? Can everybody hear me? Good. Well, thank you all for coming. It's my privilege. I've chaired the Bridging the Gap Opioid Settlement Subcommittee that's met a big chunk of the time over the last, several years actually. Commissioner Collins was also an instrumental part of that, along with, I think, an A-team of folks from around the county helping us try to deploy these assets. It's my honor to read this proclamation today about National Overdose Awareness Day and Recovery Month. Whereas Overdose Awareness Day is recognized internationally on August 31st annually to raise awareness of drug overdose, the stigma associated with overdose deaths, and acknowledge grief experienced by families and friends remembering those lost and injured as a result of drug overdose. And whereas Recovery Month is recognized nationally throughout the month of September to promote new evidence-based treatment and recovery practices, the strength and resilience of the recovery community, and highlight the providers and communities that support recovery from substance use disorders. And whereas in 2023, the state of Michigan mourned the loss of 2,931 lives to overdose, including 9 residents of Lenawee County, and experienced more than 28,000 non-fatal overdose-related emergency department visits, including 222 in Lenawee County. And whereas substance use disorders remain a significant public health concern affecting individuals of all ages, races, and backgrounds, requiring a coordinated, compassionate response that includes prevention, treatment, and long-term recovery support. And whereas recovery is not only possible but achievable, offering hope and a healthier, more fulfilling life for individuals and families affected by substance use disorders. And we encourage families and friends to take preventive steps, recognize overdose warning signs, support access to recovery services, and help reduce stigma so those in need feel safe seeking help. Therefore, the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim August 31st as National Overdose Awareness Day and September 26th as National Recovery Month in Lenawee County, and call upon our community to observe these occasions. I so move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Discussion. Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll? Deputy Clerk.
Commissioner Ungst,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Daly absent, Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Tillotson,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Doren,
Yes.
8 yeas.
Resolution passes.
I would just briefly like to thank the county, the commissioners, and the community members for recognizing that overdoses are preventable. We know how to prevent them. We have the skills and tools here in Lenawee County to prevent them. And even one life lost to overdose is one life too many. And that recovery is possible. Thanks, everyone. Imagine she wants you in that one.
Come on up, Shamar, you guys. We'll have a recognizing Michigan Works Southeast. Shamar Herons here. Executive Director, presented by Commissioner Collins. And Misty and
I just thought I was a big fella. Stand next to this. Just some people who, Lamar played basketball for Ohio State. I told him when I was police chief, Ohio State paraphernalia wouldn't be allowed in Adrian. He gets around. I also am privileged to read this. Michigan Works is one of the premier agencies working in workforce development throughout the state, but in this organization, several counties. Whereas Michigan Works Southeast serves as a regional workforce development agency for Region 9, encompassing Hillsdale, Jackson, Lenawee, Livingston, and Washtenaw counties. Whereas Michigan Works Southeast plays a critical role in strengthening the regional economy by connecting career seekers, employers, and adult learners with employment training and workforce development services. And whereas during the past year, Michigan Works Southeast welcomed over 35,000 visitors, and over the past 9 years has supported thousands of businesses, demonstrating the broad reach and impact of its services. And whereas Michigan Works Southeast collaborates with hundreds of partners, including employers, educational institutions, training providers, economic development entities, and community-based organizations to deliver coordinated and effective workforce solutions. And whereas the work of Michigan Works Southeast contributes to economic mobility for individuals, operational success for employers, and the overall prosperity of the region. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners recognizes the significant contribution and positive impact of Michigan Works Southeast, and hereby designates August 12th, 2026 as Michigan Works Southeast Day. Be it further resolved that the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners encourages career seekers, employers, and adult learners throughout the county to utilize and engage with the program and services offered by Michigan Works Southeast. I so move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Collins, supported by Commissioner Ungst. Discussion. Hearing none, would the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins.
Yes.
Commissioner Daly absent, Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Stimson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tillotson,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Doren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ungst.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Resolution passes.
This is a true honor, and on behalf of both of our boards, the Consortium Board and the Workforce Board for Michigan Works Southeast, along with our 80 colleagues who can't be here today, and the thousands of individuals that we've served proudly with Workforce Development Services, we want to thank the Board of Commissioners. We want to thank the individuals within this community and our region beyond. And we are here to serve you as your workforce development agency. We cannot say thank you enough, and we are very much appreciative of this honor.
We have a 30th Anniversary Center of Excellence presentation to be presented by Commissioner Krasny.
Look at that. Look at that, Commissioner Tillotson. I finally made it to a farm. See that picture? This was really important for all of us here and Chairman Van Dorn. This is the 30th anniversary of a very important event in this community. Terrific collaboration here with agriculture. You see on the left is Brooke with the Center for Excellence, and then Tom Van Wagner, and then Blaine Baker, who's been putting on this event for about 30 years, and I've been going to it for about the last 16. A great cooperation of bringing together agriculture, environmental groups to make sure that our farming practices are really good. And while the event is literally today, and at 1:30, if you want to leave and get there quickly, they're having steak sandwiches. So that's why no one's here with us today. But we thought we'd do a proclamation anyways. Recognizing the 30th anniversary of the Center for Excellence. Whereas the Center for Excellence celebrates its 30th anniversary in 2026, marking 3 decades of leadership in agriculture, innovation, conservation, and education in Lenawee County in Southeast Michigan. And whereas since 1996, the Center for Excellence has provided farmers, educators, and agricultural professionals with hands-on learning through on-farm demonstrations showcasing conservation tillage, emerging technologies, and sustainable farming practices. And whereas Baker Ladd's Farm in Clayton, Michigan has served as a living laboratory for conservation, demonstrating innovative tillage systems and a closed-loop wastewater wetland sub-irrigation system while promoting responsible stewardship of our natural resources. And whereas the annual Center for Excellence Field Day and Yield Results Crop Day provide valuable opportunities to share research, demonstrate new conservation technologies, and encourage continued innovation in agriculture. And whereas the 30th Center for Excellence Field Day, to be held on August 12, 2026, has grown into the largest agricultural educational event in Southeast Michigan, drawing approximately 350 attendees each year and reflecting the program's lasting impact on the agricultural community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners hereby congratulates the Center for Excellence on its 30th anniversary and commends its founders, partners, volunteers, and supporters for their dedication to conservation, innovation, and the continued success of agriculture in our community. I so move.
I have a motion by Commissioner Krasny, supported by Commissioner Tillotson. Thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, would the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Van Doren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ungst,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Yes.
Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Daly, absent, Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Stimson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Tilton.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Resolution passes. Oh, we got one. We got one. Oh, no, they're gonna do
You're
it.
gonna go podium.
We have a special presentation today from Congressman Wahlberg's office celebrating America's 250th year. With us here today, we're privileged to have Casey Swinson, the district representative, and Cameron Smith, the constituent service specialist. Please come up.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Sheriff, Administrative Staff, it's my distinct pleasure to be with you all today as we celebrate 250 years of this great nation in 2026. Let it be known that it is my special privilege to recognize Lenawee County and its vital role in our nation's history as the United States celebrates its 250th birthday. This year marks an important milestone for our great nation. 250 years of independence, ingenuity, and freedom. During this historic moment, we pause to reflect on all the great communities across the nation that have led us to where we are today and have contributed greatly to our nation's story. Over the past 250 years, our nation has weathered wars, economic transformations, fierce debates, and groundbreaking innovations. Through every era of our country's history, we have seen remarkable strength of our local communities. Every day, Americans from communities like Lenawee County have carried our nation forward by serving their communities, innovating their workplaces, and participating in civic life. Our local communities are the heart and spirit of America, living out the principles established by our founders in the Declaration of Independence. Founded in 1826, Lenawee County has a firm foothold in preserving our nation's culture and patriotism. As a vital stop on the historic Underground Railroad, this county has long stood for American freedom and liberty. Today, traditions like the Lenawee County Fair, one of the oldest running county fairs in the nation, and the excitement of the Michigan International Speedway bring the community together in the true American spirit. From the scenic landscapes of the Irish Hills to its deeply rooted agriculture heritage, Lenawee County embodies the values that have guided the United States for 250 years. As we commemorate 250 years of independence, we also look forward to the next chapter of American history. It is local communities who will shape the next 250 years by promoting civility, strengthening civic engagement, and creating a vision for the generations to come. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to honor the leaders, residents, and families of Lenawee County on our nation's semi-quincentennial. As we mark this historic milestone, we recognize Lenawee's legacy and the role the county will play in building a strong, resilient future. Signed, Tim Wahlberg, Member of Congress.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that beautiful presentation. Please thank the congressman for us. Lenawee County Audit Presentation. Dan Zamalzak, I got it right. Our Finance Director, along with Michael Rolka, Yo and Yo, here for the presentation. Hi, Mike.
Thank you, Commissioner. As I was introduced, a lot of people probably don't know me. I'm Dan Zamolzak, the Finance Director here at Lenawee County. And I'm here to introduce Mike Rolka with the audit firm of Yo and Yo to present our financial statements. He's going to go through each page of the financial audit. And knowing that how exciting that can be, we're going to ask for the 3-minute timer to be put on so he can really do this very quickly. So with that, I'd like to introduce Mike Rolka.
I like the way you think.
Well, I don't want to put you all to sleep, but I'll keep it to about 10 pages. How's that? Thank you all for having me. Again, my name's Mike Rolka, principal with Yo and Yo. I'm going to touch on the 2025 year's audit, give you the highlights, basically, touch on some of the numbers, the big numbers that changed. But remember, this is about 8 months in the past now, so many things have changed since then. So let's get into it. So the agenda today, we're going to talk about some of the key audit team members, required communications, the single audit results and the financial audit results, some upcoming accounting pronouncements, and then I'm willing to take any questions you may have. So moving forward, Dan, who you've just met, obviously he is not a part of the audit team, but without his preparation, we'd never get through an audit. Myself, and then Kellen Riker, the manager on the job, he's not here today with me. So let's dive into some of the audit communications and really just go straight into the bottom line. And first, that's an unmodified opinion was given on the financial statements. And it's important to remember what that actually means. It means that the financial statements are materially correct. They can be relied upon by outside parties, and every large number, if you will, has been double checked or triple checked. There was one new accounting pronouncement this year that was adopted, GASB statement. So GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. That's who puts forth the standards for governmental accounting, state and local governments. Certain risk disclosures is the new standard. It had no impact on the county's financial statements. As a part of our audit, we look at significant estimates to make sure it's free of management's bias and that the assumptions and the inputs are appropriate. They were deemed reasonable by us. Some examples of those would be estimates that go into your compensated absence liabilities, so accrued vacation and time, or estimates that go into pension liabilities, such as mortality rates and discount rates. So we look at those and make sure they're reasonable, and they were. I'm happy to report there were no difficulties encountered during the audit, but we did identify a couple large adjustments that led to a material weakness in internal control over financial reporting. Really, there were three things. One was the lease receivable had not been recorded with the Human Services Building between the state of Michigan, and so we recorded that. The drain assessments receivable was off schedule, and we corrected that. And there was some revenue that had to be deferred because of a special rule called the 60-day rule for governmental funds. And so if a receivable as of your year end is not collected within 60 days, you may not recognize revenue. You have to defer it to the next year. I think it's important to say with this that it's not as though anything was misappropriated. There was no incorrect spending. They're merely accounting adjustments. Now I'd like to go over the single audit results. So the single audit is required now whenever you spend over $1 million of federal funds in a given year. That is up from the prior year of $750,000. That was a old requirement's been modified. So now 1 million. The county this past year had $15 million in federal expenditures. And so we tested the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, which are now fully spent. And that represented 74% of the federal expenses this year. It was just over $11 million. We've issued an unmodified opinion on compliance related to that program and had no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies to report as it relates to the federal programs. Now I'm going to go through just really high level asset and liability balances and some revenue trends. The first page you see here represents all of your governmental and business type activities. which are your basic financial statements. I'd like to point out a couple of the major fluxes that you see here. So you'll see that cash is down about $10 million. Well, that coincides pretty well with the amount of money that was spent for, related to those ARPA funds that you've been hanging on to. Shouldn't say it that way, but that have now been spent. You're going to see a trend that basically everything that looks less comparable year over year really is driven by that ARPA spending. So you're going to hear me say that a lot. If we look on the other assets line, you'll see that that's up just a bit over $5 million. And that represents the recognition of that lease receivable. The last thing you'll see here is a large increase in the net capital assets, almost $15 million. And that represents the improvements into the Morris Spears campus. Moving to the next page for the liabilities, again, the accounts payable and other liabilities, that represents the reduction of the unearned revenue, and that's where the ARPA funds were placed before they were spent. The net pension liability is also down. That can fluctuate year over year based on the estimates that go into it, as well as market conditions. And lastly, the deferred inflows they were up $5 million because of that lease receivable that had to be recorded. And then also the rest of that is related to pension deferrals. So when there are big gaining years in the market in your pension plan, that's required to be spread over 5 years instead of an immediate impact. And that gets kind of in a holding account called deferred inflows. So that's what's in there. Quick distribution of what the net position looks like. You'll see the biggest piece is the net investment in capital assets. So that represents the cost of your capital assets, less the accumulated depreciation, subtracted from debt. So that means you have more capital assets than the related debt. 38% of your net position is unrestricted and may be used for what the commission pleases. And then there's 14% that's restricted for various grants and other restricted sources, such as opioid funding. The next slide here is a 5-year trend slide that really all I want to point out is how the net investment in capital assets shot up quite a bit this year. Again, that's the investments in the Morris Spears campus. Now looking at the revenue versus expenses for the past 5 years as well. Very similar to what you're going to keep hearing me say is there's a significant increase there in the revenues because of all of those ARPA funds recognized. And likewise, that's what shot up the change in net position. You were able to recognize over $11 million in revenue because of that. So keep in mind that that's a one-time thing. That money is gone and you will not see that again next year, or this year, I suppose. Now looking a little bit more into the detail of just the governmental funds. So this does not include any of the business type funds, such as the delinquent tax fund, for example. The revenues are up quite a bit. That's the ARPA funding. That's your intergovernmental line where that goes. That's where you'd see federal funds and state funds recorded. Property taxes are very consistent year over year, slight increases. And the next slide has the remainder of the governmental fund revenue trends. And really the key here is just consistency. Nothing to point out of the ordinary. We'll put it all together with the revenues and expenses just for the general fund on the next slide. You'll see that the revenues is way up due to the ARPA funds, as we previously mentioned. And I do want to point out that net transfers of the general fund were about $5.7 million. And so that means the general fund has subsidized other funds and activities by about that $6 million there. Two more things I'd like to go over. This slide here shows your general fund coverage ratio. And what does that mean? That is how many months can the county's general fund operate if it were to not collect any more revenue? And so you ended the year here at 5.1 months. So just over 5 months if no other revenue came in. So what does that mean? That means the fund balance is in a healthy position with plenty of reserves. Lastly, There are a few upcoming accounting pronouncements because the GASB can never slow down. Statement 103 and 104 will be effective for fiscal year 26. 103 it's a pretty big standard and it's going to require a lot of legwork from Dan. And of course, I'm happy to help him through it. What that will do and what it'll mean to you all is in your budgetary schedules, you'll now have a new column that compares what the original budget was to the final budget with explanations for major fluctuations. And the way that I look at that is maybe your grant line is originally budgeted as 0. Later in the year, you get a $1 million grant. So of course you amend your budget and you simply explain it in that statement. The other thing that it does is for the proprietary funds, it puts a new model of what your financial statements look like for the income statement, if you will. And it introduces the idea of capital and non-capital subsidies. It reorganizes what and redefines non-operating versus operating revenues. So that statement will look a little bit different. It doesn't change the way anything's recorded. It just changes the presentation. And then the last one, a couple years out, is a subsequent event, GASB 104, disclosure of capital assets, and a subsequent event one are both going to have a pretty low impact. They're very easy to adopt. Frankly, the GASB 105, we've been following those same rules all along. And the GASB 104, basically, the big piece to that is if you ever plan to sell a major capital asset, say a big building, you'll just need to disclose that in your financial statements. With that, I'd like to thank Dan and his team and the board for choosing Yo and Yo as your auditors. Happy to be here and really glad to have the work. Any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from the commission? Dan, do you have anything further?
I just, a lot of times people, they hear the audit and they think it's the finance department, but there are a lot of departments that are contributing to the audit to basically prove the numbers we're reporting. And some of those, without naming everybody, but include the treasurer's department, with the revenue and the revenue received, equalization with the tax, specifically the property taxes, human resources on the pension side especially, and then down the road, the Drain Commission with a lot of their funding and expenses. So it's truly a team effort that goes outside of just finance and the administrative department.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate Mike, Yo and Yo. You've done a great job. And of course, last year, Mr. Zamolzak was fairly new with us. Sorry, I'm getting that name right, but you've done a wonderful job this past year and we appreciate it. So
That we accept the audit, place it on file.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Collins. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. It's accepted and placed on file. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Good to see you again. We have a quarterly report from Lenawee Now. We have with us Mr. Pat Farver, their executive director, and their director of operations, Mr. Tim Robison.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for having us.
Afternoon.
First, I'd like to congratulate Michigan Works Southeast. As a board member of that organization, I think you made a great choice. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to come before you today to update you on the work that Lenawee Now is doing throughout the county. We've sent you our quarterly report, which has lots of informations and details and numbers. So we're not going to go through that today because you don't want to hear me just regurgitate what we've already sent you. I think I just want to reaffirm more what we're doing and how we're doing it. Our mission is straightforward. It's to strengthen our local economy, support our existing businesses, attract new investment, develop our workforce, and to help Lenawee County become an even better place to live and work. First and foremost, supporting local businesses. Our first priority continues to be the businesses that are already operating in Lenawee County. We work directly with the employees and employers to help them expand, retain jobs, find workforce solutions, access incentives and resources, and overcome barriers to growth. Adrian Steele is a prime example of this, as Lenawee Now has worked with them for the past 3 years to achieve the $43.5 million expansion and the 45 new jobs that they just announced. We also continue to support entrepreneurs and small businesses because they are an important part of our future economy. We are investing over $300,000 in facade grants for 15 local businesses in downtown Adrian to support them. Workforce development. It remains one of the biggest challenges we're facing as employers. Lenawee Now continues to bring together businesses, schools, colleges, and workforce organizations to better connect, educate, training, and offer new jobs available in our community. We're also helping businesses understand and adopt new technologies, including artificial intelligence, that can improve productivity and help them remain competitive. Economic development isn't just about attracting companies. It's also about creating communities where people want to live. That's why we're involved in efforts surrounding housing, downtown redevelopment, infrastructure, blight elimination, recreation, and other quality of life improvements. The new $12 million Park House project in downtown Adrian is an example of this by adding housing, retail, and just for your calendar, we will be hosting an open house and ribbon cutting on September 11th at 5:30. Would love you all to join us. Another exciting project is the new Howard Center. This is the old Adrian Mall and will host several new retail and dining options, as well as new housing in later stages of redevelopment. This is a much needed improvement to a large blighted property. At the same time, we continue to market Lenawee County as a great location for new investment because of our strong manufacturing base, skilled workforce, available sites, and strategic location. Perhaps our greatest strength is partnership and collaboration. We work closely with Lenawee County, our cities and townships, educational institutions, employers, state agencies, utilities, and community organizations. And kudos to the commission for hiring Lisa Cruz. We work together every day. We measure our success through jobs created and retained, private investment, business expansions, new development, workforce opportunities, and improvements within our communities. Moving forward, our priorities remain clear. Support our existing businesses, attract new investment, expand housing opportunities, strengthen our workforce, encourage redevelopment, and position Lenawee County for long-term growth. We want Lenawee County to be one of the best places in Michigan to live, work, build a business, and raise a family. Tim Robinson will now share with you some additional information. Thank you.
I'll just follow up with what Pat was talking about, a twofer sort of on the business attraction and on regional collaboration. We're partnering with Accelerate Jackson County, which is the us of Jackson County. This will be our 3rd year. We're doing a familiarization tour, bringing site selectors into Adrian or into Lenawee County and Jackson County, showing off what we've got in our region, workforce-wise, land-wise, everything-wise. Last 2 years, we brought them into MIS for the race at MIS, the Michigan 400. And then this year, we've been graced with a suite at U of M for a football game. So we'll be taking them to one of the September football games. I think we've got 4 site selectors signed up right now. We'll spend a day in Jackson, highlighting what's in Jackson, a day in Lenawee, highlighting what's in Lenawee. Saturday, take them to the game, then Sunday, drive them back to the airport. Infrastructure, what Pat was talking about, and blight elimination. You're aware of the enhancement grant, obviously. We're also the administrator for the tunnel grant. That seems to be going along well. That should be done in September. What else we got? Oh, and all the collaboration, like we said, the FAM tour And we partner with Detroit Regional Partnership. We've got the Hudson Industrial Park, the Tecumseh Technology Park. We're working on trying to remember, the Durasite is on, Detroit Regional Partnership has a program called Verified Industrial Properties, where they come in and spend $30,000-$40,000 with environmental engineers, et cetera, to put together a report on various site on various industrial park. And we're about to add another site into that program. We talked to them Monday in Madison Township, a 30-acre site to add to that one. Detroit Regional Partnership, a lot of people, they have a lot of money to spend on marketing. We don't. So we leverage what we can. Pat talked about entrepreneurship. This is the last year of the Small Business Support Hub 1.0 grant that we partnered with Lean Rocket Lab in Jackson on. That one we used for classes for small and new companies. You have to have been established as a company and you have to have revenue. You don't have to be profitable, but you have to have some revenue. It's like one step past Launch Lenawee, where they bring people in who just sort of have an idea of what they want to do. We've been awarded Small Business Support Hub 2.0 grant now. For this year, it'll be a year grant. And instead of doing additional classes like we had in the past, we want to work with them directly, sit down with those companies. Same definition. You've started, you've got revenue. Maybe you're not profitable, but you've got revenue. What do you need? What are the 2-3 things you need? Is it marketing help? Is it sales help? Is it accounting help? And we can use our funds to hire professionals in those fields to help them put together a marketing plan, a sales plan, put the accounting books together. Mostly accounting, as you remember. What else we got going? The workforce development. We had our event last night at Align Center. For the last 6 years, we've had an extern program where we've had funds bring some teachers into Lenawee businesses for a week, 2 weeks or 1 week, depending on what they wanted to do, to learn more about what goes on in the business so they can take that back into their classroom. So last night was the 6th awards banquet we've had for teachers and counselors. And it was our first one where we've had interns. We had 5 students in companies over the summer for a week just to learn about what's going on in the businesses. One of my favorite stories was last night. One of the teachers is a math teacher, and she was working at Evonik, Silbond in Jasper, chemical silicon company. And so she worked in the spent some time in the accounting field, some time out on the floor working with the engineers and the operators. Do a lot of calculations in that place when you're mixing chemicals, et cetera. They have security levels that you can't have your cell phone with you. So she goes, now when one of my algebra students asked me, when am I ever going to use this for? She goes, I have an example. That was great. That was great last night. Let's see. The business attraction, again, working on the FAM tour. We are Lenawee now is the conduit for our RFPs coming from the state, from Detroit Regional Partnership. We partner with Regional Growth Partnership out of Toledo. They've handed us some projects. We get the RFPs and then we disperse it across the county to the municipalities here and to the county. And then we're responsible for submitting responses. And if someone bites, we corral all the cats and put the show on. Well, the 3 things that weren't really in here. Resources we have that's available to everyone in the county. We have a program, we subscribe to a program called Grant Exec. It's AI driven, but it helps find grants. And so basically every 2 weeks we get a report from them. They use AI to go through all the grants, federal, state, private. And then we get a report, here are the top 10 that fit your criteria and scored. Here you have a so-so chance, a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 9, or 9 out of 10, or 2 out of 10. We have that. So if someone's looking for grants, they can come to us and we can help find the grants. We have a grant writer on staff. And also, we have a lobbyist that's helping us find funds and finding resources for companies and for communities. Other than that, I think that's it. Well, any questions? Happy to answer.
Anybody have questions? Commissioner Martis.
Well, thanks, Tim and Pat. Of course, I'm the liaison to Lenawee now, and been a privilege to be a part of your meetings. One of the themes I keep raising with them, like I have since I've been here, is economic development is not just focused on Tecumseh and Adrian, that there's a big county out there that it's equally important to all of us. And I appreciate the efforts, and we'll keep reminding you about opportunities that we have in the outlying townships. I also, when Lisa was hired, we put together a meeting I did with Lisa and Tim and Pat, because obviously, like there is with area of economic development, community development people in various communities, there'll be overlap and there'll be places of complement and there'll be places where you're working in different areas. And I too share your enthusiasm for the work Lisa is doing. But in general, so the commission understands, while there will be overlap on municipal projects, a lot of Lisa's work, and she will correct me when I'm wrong, as you all can, will of course focus on the municipal side and some of those angles, which of course you're involved too. But then you spend a lot of time and energy on commercial and more heavy industrial and those kinds of development activities as well. Am I phrasing that correctly?
Yes.
We had two other things that I know that we had put in our contract and discussed with you as points of importance. One was retention visits, which, why don't you tell us what a retention visit is and how that's going for you?
We've done 8 so far, all 9. We were in Rema, Monday. We go out and visit with the company. It's a deep dive into the company. What's going on? What do you need? The workforce, mostly workforce.
Speak right into that mic.
Sorry, Jim, sorry. We go out and then do a deep dive meeting with the company and usually bring our partners, Michigan Work. So I'm glad that Shamar was here. We brought Michigan Works out Monday, Michigan Economic Development Council or Corporation. We bring in MEDC out to meet with them. Try to bring all the partners that can help them. What needs do you have and how do we address them? We try to do that deep dive. I think our list with you guys, this is 40. We have to do 40 this year, so we're behind, but we're catching up.
Secondly, one of the emphases that we talked about was housing. I know Lisa's been working with Housing Lenawee, which is part of what you guys are trying, I don't want to say overseeing, but some role you guys are deeply intertwined with them. Sounds like we're making maybe some promising prospects there. Is there anything you can share publicly?
The Housing Lenawee Group, which we host, actually focuses on that. And we are looking at least 2 projects right now, purchasing land. We've also support with Habitat for Humanity. We've got 2 projects that we're doing for them. Housing with the new Howard Center. That's part of his phase 2 or 3 of this is some additional housing at the mall area of considerable numbers. So yeah, we're diving deep into that and trying to get as many projects going as possible. Both new housing as well as rehabs and things like that. And believe it or not, the Bixby Housing Project is still viable. And as soon as a few people finish up their work, you should be seeing housing at that site as well. That was be 64 additional units.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate all your work.
Appreciate it.
Approval of the August consent agenda would be in order.
So move.
Support.
A motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Discussion. Hearing none, would the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Tillotson,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Doren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ungst,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Daly, absent, Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis,
Yes.
Commissioner Stimson,
Yes.
8 yeas.
And the consent agenda is approved. We'll go to accounts payable when the standing committee reports and start with Commissioner Martis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, you see all the details of these expenditures in your packet. The Accounts Payable Committee met on July 9th, July 23rd, and August 6th, 2026. Without going through every last apportionment, I will simply read the request, recommend the approval of the accounts payable payments in the amounts of $12,373,955.67, with the general funds portion being $895,525.82. I so move.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Commissioner Collins. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Anything further, Commissioner Martis? Thank you. Criminal Justice, Commissioner Collins.
Justice met on August 6th, report from the sheriff. He has 3 new recruits. 2 are doing on the job training right now. Excuse me, 1 in the academy. We approved to move forward the RAGA contract and the Clemens contract, which is a software program. Prosecutor reported she is extremely busy. The murder trial and the so-called Skelton case. The Economic Crimes Unit generated $5,831. LAPC reported the prop trade. That's the trade I talked about before. This hazardous material programs, derailments, so forth. That will be in Blissfield this month, and the LAPC meeting will be held there. They also reported that I don't know how many people remember the RAVE program. This program reports hazardous weather and so forth. If you sign up, Commissioner Rux probably knows more than I about it. That's being changed January 1 to HQ2E, which is a different company, different program, offers many more options. And received a report from the medical examiner on numbers. That would be it, sir.
Questions for Commissioner Collins? Thank you, Commissioner. IT Equalization, Commissioner Krasny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. IT and Equalization met on Thursday, August 6th with Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Tillotson, and myself present. Rather light meeting. We went through the finance report and the IT report and our great expansion of our communications department under Jennifer Ambrose's leadership. And I would share with the community that on Monday evening at Woodstock Township's meeting, I got compliments on our wonderful communications efforts in the last couple of months, as well as our new equalization director, Mr. Clements. So that was a pleasant evening. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Commissioner Krasny? Thank you, Commissioner. Personnel Ways and Means, Commissioner Martis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, we were in this chamber yesterday. One of the main action items was, of course, our rejection of a proposal to acquire the Tecumseh Products property. And two of the other main action items were things that Commissioner Collins referenced as being brought forward from criminal justice. So,
questions for Commissioner Martis? Thank you, Commissioner. Physical Resources, Commissioner Krasny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Physical Resource Committee met on Thursday, August 6th at 11 a.m. with myself, Commissioner Tillotson, and Commissioner Blanco present. We had a pretty aggressive meeting with a lot of various projects, a lot of projects closed, but a lot of requests as well, some paving and asphalt, and then the monthly report from the Drain Commissioner gave it as well. So it's been a very active month in the world of the Drain Commissioner and Building, Grounds and Maintenance. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Commissioner Krasny? Thank you, Commissioner. Moving over to board appointments, Community Action Agency, Commissioner Stimson. Community Mental Health Authority, Commissioner Stimson.
not me.
County Planning Commission, Commissioner Blanco.
That met on Thursday, July 16th, also meets next Thursday for the August meeting. It looks like they had two motions that were tabled due to just a lack of documentation, more information needed. One was a zoning ordinance in Blissfield Township regarding cryptocurrency data mining facilities. I'm sure that will probably come back next week is my guess. There was a zoning amendment in Palmyra for adding a memoriam ordinance that was approved and voted on unanimously. And there was a PA 116 from Deerfield that they needed more information, and that was tabled as well. And that looks like everything on that agenda.
Questions for Commissioner Blanco? Thank you, Commissioner. Department on Aging, Commissioner Ungst.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last month, I did report that Daybreak had a surprise visit from the state of Michigan. This month, the findings did come back and they had great reviews. They also had a review recently by Community Mental Health, and they had glowing reviews as well. Department on Aging did host a version of Let's Make a Deal at the fair this year. And also, they're preparing annual audit with Wellwise Services. That's a two-part event. There is a desk review piece that collects data and information, and then there's a piece where they do an in-person visit. And also they received a $7,700 donation from the Adrian Dominican Sisters.
Questions for Commissioner Ungst? Thank you, Commissioner. Department of Health and Human Services, Medical Care Facility, Commissioner Tillotson.
I did not attend, I didn't attend anything but parks. This month I have a sickness in the family that takes my attention.
Thank you, Commissioner. 911 District Board, Commissioner Collins.
I'm going on board, but on July 9th, unfortunately, I was unable to attend as I was out of town. But of interest, if you look in your packet, during the big storm we had, on an average day, the 911 center averages about a dozen calls an hour. Right after the big storm, they received 1,509 calls. So they were absolutely jammed for that period. The rest of the meeting was simply reports out from the different entities.
And how did that handling go? Did they were able to process them and?
Probably address that better than I, Mr. Ungst.
So they have a backup system where the calls, if they can't answer them, it goes to the next county over, which works well until that county receives their storm. And then they get the bounce back from that county, after the storm passes through ours. So
Oh.
it's kind of a pass back and forth, but all the calls get answered. But if Lenawee can't handle them, then you go to the next county over.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Health Board, Commissioner Collins.
Health Board met on July 5th, the report that respiratory illnesses and transmissions are at a low level. Avian flu is, there were no new cases, none in Lenawee. There were no measles cases in Lenawee. June 26th, there was a bat that tested positive for rabies in Lenawee County. We got to practice on this. The cyclosporazza parasite is growing not only in Lenawee County, but now throughout the Midwest and some of the nation. There were 161 cases in Lenawee County, 3,762 in the state. Most of the risk obviously are, as everyone knows, are produce. And there was discussion on the air quality from the fires in Canada. That was about it.
Questions for Commissioner Collins? I think you did a nice job of pronunciating that. Glad I didn't have to do it. Any questions for Commissioner Collins? Thank you, Commissioner. One-way transportation, nothing, Ralph? You weren't there? Okay. MAC general governmental is in recess unless the administrator had anything for them.
No, we'll start meeting again in October.
And did public safety, judiciary and public safety, deputy?
No, we too remain in recess.
Okay. Thank you. Maurice Spear Campus, Commissioner Ungst.
We did not meet in August. They do take the month of August off.
Perfect. Michigan Works, Commissioner Collins.
Michigan Works did not meet. They'll be meeting September 9th.
You, Parks Commission, Commissioner Tillotson.
We did meet briefly. We only had like a 15-20 minute meeting, very, very short. Just talked about things in general, and I believe that we gave permission to an onset group to play sports this fall.
At Bicentennial, yeah.
Yes.
I think also you're looking into a bridge for, which, is that Medina? Medina, the possibility of a.
Yeah, they're working on a bridge, but
Okay. Questions for Commissioner Tillotson?
they're in the middle of the water right now.
Thank you, Commissioner. Region 2 Planning, Commissioner Tillotson, no meeting, right?
No?
Solid Waste, Commissioner Stimson.
Solid Waste did meet on August 5th. Pretty quick meeting, a lot of reporting out about where we're at with our numbers, but primarily it was updates on the recycling pilot program and where we're at with the adoption of the MMP rough draft, which is the materials management plan. Since there's so many township officials here, you're going to be seeing us come around from the county. They're going to be requiring us to adopt the materials management plan. If we do not, and the townships don't ratify it within a percentage number of votes, then Eagle will set what that materials management plan will look like. So be on the lookout from solid waste, what used to be solid waste, which is now materials management, on what that looks like. The committee's been working on it for about a year now. They have a consultant that's helping them, and right now we are the in first place, if you will, from the standpoint of trying to get that process completed amongst all the communities in the state of Michigan. So we're right on the cusp. She's doing an excellent job keeping us appraised and keeping us moving. So be on the lookout in the next 6 to 8 months for that to come down the pipe.
Questions for Commissioner Stimson? Thank you, Commissioner. Substance abuse disorder. Commissioner Tip?
They meet tonight.
Okay. Liaison, reports, Lenawee Now, Commissioner Martis, probably pretty well covered, right?
Yep, we're all set there and we meet again this month, is that correct, or September? September.
Okay. Michigan Township Association, MTA, Commissioner Blanco.
No meeting until, September.
Thank you. Road Commission, Commissioner Martis.
I did attend their meeting. There's nothing particularly remarkable to report, but they were, of course, congratulating now elected Commissioner Todd Brown, who had pulled out the rest of the late Stan Wilson's term.
Did he have somebody run against him?
Yes.
Questions for Commissioner Martis?
Just comment that I think they really done a great job. They've covered a lot of territory and a lot of roads. Especially to the south, because I drive them every day.
Good. Yeah, that's, if I might add another comment, that's true. Yankee Road in my district, of course, is beautiful now to the point that, of course, we see that we just approved a contract for a deputy to help with speed enforcement. The next project that's going to affect my district, and of course, there are others in other parts of the county, but Silverhorn Highway will be turned into essentially, I'm not going to say Class A, but a very high quality north-south road. And that's important because that connects 109, which stops in Berkey, Ohio, and it will connect straight through to US 223, which is an important route. And the roads has been in really bad shape. So we're looking forward to seeing those improvements.
Any other questions? Thank you. Veterans Affairs, Commissioner Collins.
Veterans Affairs met on July 10th. That is the same week again that I was out of town. There really wasn't anything of significance in the meeting. They did discuss the idea of changing the hiring process for positions on the board and called for a special meeting this Friday, I believe, to vote or determine the finality.
Questions for Commissioner Collins? Thank you, Commissioner. Wellwise is down for the summer. They did not have a meeting. Did I miss any committees, appointments? Okay, move on to unfinished business. Unfinished business, we're looking at the Rugit Farms and Glacier Meadows intervenor and the host community agreement. The request in front of the commission is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners to expend the $75,000 intervenor checks to engage with Foster, Swift, Collins, and Smith to intervene on the county's behalf regarding Rugit Farm Solar and Glacier Meadows Solar projects at the Michigan Public Service Commission. Is there a motion?
So move.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by Commissioner Ungst.
One comment first. It says not to exceed 75,000. That's per project. See, just to be clear on that.
Correct. Discussion. Commissioner Collins.
First, I have a question. In the request stated or the resolution is it would be, my understanding is that Foster and Swift will be instructed that these funds can be used for no other purpose than to keep if you would, keep the toes of the builder and Foster, or excuse me, MPSC to the fire. It cannot be used to argue whether or not there should or should not be.
Correct. That's my understanding. And
I would ask that be in the resolution.
according, when we were talking to corporate counsel, there has to be a contract with Foster Swift. After, if this should pass, Commissioner Collins, and at that point, the administrator and myself and legal counsel would be discussing that and putting those terms in the contract. Correct. Other discussion?
Well, I have some discussion.
All right, Commissioner Collins.
Questions that I have to ask. I want to be very clear that my decision, my information has nothing to do with whether or not we are pro or con on the issue of alternate energy, the wind or solar farm. That is not the basis of this resolution, not the basis, should be, not the basis of our decision. Our decision simply is to hold those two entities to state. And it brought to mind to me, I was quite taken aback. I thought it a strange requirement that a business had to give a substantial amount of money to government entities, the sole purpose of suing that entity. I think that's just a strange situation. I'm going to give you money because I want to do business in your community, and that money is to be used to sue me with. I have a hard time getting around that. It must clearly be understood that we are not debating wind or solar on this commission. But it also struck me that I am not sure if all the avenues have been researched. My understanding there are problems in some entity or some homeowners are having sound problems or will have sound problems. If that's the case, my understanding is that the procedure for that would appeal that to the MPSC. Am I correct? That they would go to the MPSC and say the contractor is not fulfilling the obligations of his job.
I would think so, yes.
All right. So if it goes to the MPSC, which I don't know if it has or not, but if it has not, then that should be the next avenue of approach. If it has, and there is not satisfaction with MPSC, then I believe we have a state senator, state representatives. It should be appealed to them to hold the MPSC liable. I have a concern that if this goes through and if future activities like this go through, we're going to be the watchdog for the MPSC, and I do not want to do that. I don't want to get in a position where we're becoming watchdogs for state agencies. What would happen if the next project to occur would cause problems with the Department of Health and Human Services, and all of a sudden we're becoming a watchdog for Health and Human Services? I believe that the accountability of MPSC should come from legislators in Lansing. I truly believe that the county should support township, cities, and villages in any ways that we should do so. I talked to several people in my community, including the Board of Commissioners, absent the mayor, and everyone to a person, save one, said that is not a county issue. It should not be brought to the county. It is a township issue. The one that didn't say that simply said, I don't have enough information. My concern is that all avenues have not been sought. Not all avenues have been pursued. If the MPSC is remiss in holding the contractor responsible for what he's doing, then somebody has to hold the MPSC liable. And I think we're rather quick to go to litigation over it. And for that reason, at this time, I'm having a hard time supporting it.
Commissioner Martis.
Well, if I might address some of these issues, it's fair questions. As a matter of record, I was in the room when this amendment was added to the legislation that became Public Act 233. It's the legislature, and in fact, it was Representative Jen Hill who brought the motion forward. One of the Democrats who voted in favor of Public Act 233 or the preceding bills. And the entire purpose is to give the local units of government some resources to be able to intervene. Understand, this is not filing suit against a developer. This is intervening in front of the MPSC in a contested case, which is standard practice for all these things that take place in front of the MPSC, be it a rate proceedings or anything else. And so the county is not brought into this volitionally. This is brought into this through legislation. The legislation has enabled effective local units to be involved in this process, and the two checks were sent to the county unsolicited by the developer as a result of a 3-0 appellate panel decision that's published that says the MPSC was wrong when their order stated that an affected local unit of government would only be a unit of government that exercises zoning authority. The statute doesn't say that, but it's simply any unit of government in which one of these projects is hosted. So these funds are not to intervene on the behalf of a particular aggrieved homeowner who has a noise level that's too high. In the matter of Deerfield Township, where I also serve as zoning administrator, we hired a noise expert to review the application from the solar company. And the solar company's own documents indicate that they exceed the Public Service Commission's guidelines for noise, I think at 9 houses above the already quite permissive noise levels permitted under PA 233. Well, to make that case, you have to hire an expert, you have to attend, you have to be there to make sure the MPSC understands that. If you don't intervene, these things proceed as an uncontested case. And so it's not a matter of filing suit against a developer. It's a matter of making sure that the developer's application is sufficient and adequate and within the bounds of the legislation that has authorized these projects to go forward through this path. I agree with Commissioner Collins. This isn't about being pro or con. I fail to see any path forward really under our current legislative regime where these projects are likely to be stopped. If you want to stop them, I would say vote for John James and Republicans this fall. That's going to be your only shot because the Democrats will not change this legislation. Though I will say that in the matter of Saline Township, that solar project was rejected as it was designed because it contained too much prime farm ground using the MPSC's formula. They've asked the developer to redesign the project to include less farm ground, but it takes money to be able to be there to make that case. Palmyra Township testified here that they're nearly out of intervener funds. If we don't partner with them, they will be out of money and they will no longer be able to advance any of the issues from that township. Perversely, it's because that township only has a single township involved that they only receive $75,000. It's only because that we've been made party to this through this court decision that they can have an additional $75,000. But as it stood previously, 2 neighboring jurisdictions like Blissfield and Deerfield that had zoning authority could receive $150,000 right out of the box. So it's only because of the way the language is written that, and those townships represent these things jointly, and they share counsel and they share experts, which cuts each township's costs in half. Palmyra doesn't have that advantage, except now they have that opportunity because we have now been declared an affected local unit. So the county's not sticking its nose in out of nowhere. This was thrust upon us by the legislation. I didn't go out to the solar companies and say, send us checks. The judge ordered that. And as somebody else mentioned, so far, Livingston, Sanilac, Muskegon, Genesee, and Clinton County have all moved and voted to intervene. Now, Clinton had to hold up on that intervention because the developer there, RWE, is the same developer working in Palmyra Township, and they withdrew their applications in both townships. And I'll explain to you why. It's because the statute, PA 233, said when you go to a state-cited facility, you have to announce in that jurisdiction, and I believe that's why we have a solar developer here with us today to give comment along these lines. You have to go host a meeting in the affected local unit and reveal your site plan and have a community meeting. And it has to be in that affected local unit. The developer in both counties, which means to me it was a matter of principle, chose to have those meetings in a neighboring jurisdiction, not within the jurisdiction itself. That's because the MPSC order said they just had to make a reasonable attempt to have that meeting there. Seeing the way this court case turned out, they both decided they better withdraw their applications and start over so they don't run into a due process issue when they're much farther down the road. In Palmyra, the problem is they're now refiling, and if the MPSC doesn't compel them to furnish a fresh $75,000 intervener fund for a brand new application, they're going to have their $20,000 that's left, and they will quickly run out the clock on that, and they won't be able to continue to intervene on their own behalf throughout the balance. If we partner with them, if they're not compelled to give a fresh 75, at least they would have an additional 75 to continue this process through to the end. like any other pair of townships that would start out of the box with $150,000. Look, I think the whole process is skewed. I think every township should have got several $100,000 because you're dealing with corporations that are Fortune 500 companies with billions of dollars of resources. It's still an unfair playing field to say to these townships that we have $75,000 that we can only use to intervene with you, or we send it back to the developer and we decide not to take it and to send it back, but then to negotiate a community host agreement that will take from that same developer $400,000 in the case of the Blissfield project for Lenawee County purposes, to me would strike me as it's just absurd and insulting to those local units. They're hosting the projects that make that revenue available to us. And yet we would deny them the $75,000 that can be used for no other, but then say, but we're still going to take the money for the project that we didn't help you intervene with. I don't understand how we could ever make that statement in good conscience.
Other discussion? Did you, Commissioner Stimson?
I appreciate your comments, Commissioner Martis. There's quite a bit of conjecture and a lot of misinformation that's associated with your conclusions. The law is pretty simple as it relates to these aspects. This matter is still currently on appeal. In fact, the firm that is coordinated with Mr. Martis, Foster Swift Collins and Smith, is one of the people who has appealed this to the Michigan Supreme Court. So we don't know what the settled nature of this is. Originally, the legislature didn't write us in as an ALU. A court of appeals said we are. That's going to be appealed, and maybe the Supreme Court says we are not. And at which case we would have to repay all the funds in which we received, and that would come out of our general fund. So that means law enforcement officers off the street. That means all of the safety aspects that we have are coming out of our general fund. This law is unsettled. We're unclear of where it is. To intervene in Michigan court rules is to file a motion and or be granted that leave. That means you become a party to the suit. We don't just give $75,000 to Palmyra or to Deerfield or to Blissfield Township. That's not what it means. It means the county is now a party. We bear the costs. We bear the judgments and renderings that would be judged against that. We are now a party of interest, and we have to govern our own interests, not just the interests of the townships. And that's yet another problem I have with this. We have divergent interests across the county. I understand Palmyra doesn't want it, and I support their desire for that, and they should go forward with that. They have zoning for all of that. The county doesn't do zoning. We're not in charge of zoning. We don't enforce zoning. But we also have townships like Raisin and Adrian where they have facilities that have been welcomed. They've worked with the developers and they've yielded a benefit from it. They are inviting of that. You have cities like Commissioner Collins just said, the city of Adrian, city of Tecumseh. They invite the development. It's good for them. So we have divergent interests as a body that represents the entirety of the county, not just a few townships. I have concerns about the motives of this particular law firm. Foster Swift Collins and Smith represented the 79 people times $75,000 just at the lowest end of that. You're talking about $5.9 million in legal fees that they are now soliciting from townships across the state of Michigan. There's your motivator. Foster Swift came in, created a problem when they said CREOs are X, Y, and Z. They appealed that, charged the townships in order to do that, lost on the original aspect, appealed that one part of it, and now have additional funds that they're looking to drive at this. None of this changes any of the aspects associated with the standards that the MPSC is required to apply. All this is going to do is lope us as the county into the person who has to write the check for Foster Swift, Collins, and Smith to continue the fight of a non-solar aspect. There's no question that they're a fossil fuel-led law firm. I don't begrudge that to them. They represent all kinds of interests in that aspect. So be it. That's part of this, how they have. They represent those people. I'm fine with that. But that isn't what the people of this county pay taxes for. And we're putting those tax dollars on the line for a particular interest. Zoning issues are that of the townships and the cities. The county is not involved. It's unsettled whether we have ALUs that are going to be remaining that way because the Michigan Supreme Court has not ruled yet. We don't even know if they're going to take up that leave yet. So there's a lot of unsettled that I don't think we need to be moving forward, particularly if the developer in the Palmyra case has withdrawn their application. So then we don't have a case to intervene. It's questionable whether we even have a right to that $75,000. I don't believe we should move forward with that. That's why I can't support this at this time. It's not that I don't agree with the fight that they're doing. That's entirely up to them. I don't think that the way that this particular law firm fights things is appropriate, but that's subject matter of just different disputes about how they want to litigate and who they really represent and what their interests are. I know just as quickly as about a month ago that Palmyra Township had a motion on their table to withdraw their suit, and I think it was mentioned today because they don't want to exceed $75,000. Those representation agreements don't necessarily allow us just to stop. In most court cases, including cases in front of agencies, you don't get to just say, hey, I hit my dollar amount, I'm done. That's not how those agreements work. Once you've intervened, the court requires that attorney to continue on and protect the interest of the client, even if that means exceeding that $75,000. It happens all the time. They're not going to do it for free, and we're going to end up paying. It took all of about 2 to 3 months for Foster Swift to chew through almost the entirety of Palmyra's money. Do that on a countywide scale. I can't support it.
Is corporate counsel online? Corporate counsel?
Yes, Chairman Van Doren, I'm here. Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, Administrator
As
Murphy.
they're doing that, I'm just going to make a comment. The reason I'm asking for corporate counsel is that myself and the administrator have met a number of times, both our corporate counsel and Foster Swift. And it's our understanding that, first of all, there's no taxpayer money being spent here. The $75,000 is coming into the county. That's the $75,000 that we would use. And if we got to the limit of that $75,000, it would stop, and that would be the end of the liability on behalf of the county. So corporate counsel? This,
Chairman
ladies
Van
and
Doren.
gentlemen, John Galooly, our corporate counsel. Mr. Galooly, is that your understanding?
That's my understanding that there'd be
Hold on.
a writing.
We're getting the sound. No sound yet.
Can you hear me?
You can't hear him there yet.
I can hear you and I am not muted.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
Stand by, a little technical difficulty here.
No, you come, it says audio is on. My video's on.
Try it now. John.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah.
Hello?
We have the capability of getting that.
Click noise removal. Hello? Nothing? Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Everything seems to be working on my end.
Until I'm not top, they're gonna lock out.
They can hear.
Put it in the chat.
Are you able to log on there? Oh, here's Kim. Hi. Y- Yeah, and we're trying to log on another computer. Everything seems to be working on my end. We've tested everything. I'm trying to log on to another computer.
Local Miller is asking to join.
She's not here today, so if you don't mind, if you can stay on so that we can see you, and I will put my phone on speaker, we'll put it near the chairman's microphone. That way you can clearly hear him and he can hear. Will that work?
That will work.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
They're just gonna let me in.
They let you in?
No, they just need to let me in. I'm just waiting.
Okay, they're gonna put the speaker here. No. Hello?
I needed you to stay on your phone.
You got it. Here I am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got you on a speakerphone.
Thank you
So
very
much for
much.
technology. Right.
Working on my end, I apologize. A couple comments, if I may. I am glad that the proposed resolution being offered does not commit the county to proposed intervention in other cases going forward. I believe it's strictly limited to those agenda items taking place right now. And I would urge the county not to enact any policy with regard to intervention going forward on proposed developments. The reason being, as we discussed before, this case is pending before the Michigan Supreme Court. There are cross appeals pending, and no one knows how the Michigan Supreme Court is going to rule with regard to the cross appeals and whether or not the county of Lenawee is an effective local unit of government. I think many of us were caught off guard by the underlying opinion of the Michigan Court of Appeals, which put us in the Supreme Court right now. So there is definitely uncertainty as to the status of the Public Act, and it could be flipped completely upside down by what many view as a democratically controlled Michigan Supreme Court at this point. My other comments, three others of this, I would not look at the receipt of money by the county or the intervention issue from a monetary perspective. In other words, don't try to suggest that a certain amount of money will come into the county coffers, so to speak, on these types of transactions. Because thinking of it from a monetary perspective could in fact be very dangerous going forward if in fact the law was changed. Could require citizens of Lenawee County who are not part of these proposed developments to repay monies received by the county to others. I would add two other things if I might. The funding with regard to the proposed Glacier Meadow solar panel and the like is dictated by law, not legal intervention, so to speak. And the question becomes, if the county chooses to formally apply the intervener status in the Glacier Meadow solar case, it does so to secure a seat at the table during the state's permitting process. It would allow the county, as an intervening party, cross-examine witnesses, submit expert testimony regarding sound issues, right-of-way issues, and other requirements imposed by localities and state statute. That is the primary purpose of intervener status. Now, in Now, this specific incident, it has been stated to me, as Commissioner Martis indicated, that these funds are needed because specifically 9 residents have some serious property issues with regard to noise and noise abatement that will take place. Under those circumstances, and if the appropriate safeguards are put into place on this very limited request for intervention, I do not have significant objection to intervention, given that 9 landowners or property owners have made specific issues with regard to noise and the procedures to control noise with these projects. I do believe that the funding will be limited to $75,000. They need to retain experts. Experts do not come cheap. And I would suggest, as Commissioner Stimpson said, some tight controls are going to have to be had with regards, they're going to have to mind P's and Q's, because these experts don't come cheap. Depositions of experts don't come cheap. Briefing does not come cheap. And we need to make sure that the appropriate procedural safeguards are in place that are limiting the obligation of the county to its receipt of $75,000. So if there's no policy going forward regarding intervention, if we don't look at it from a monetary perspective, thinking that the county is going to have a windfall, these types of projects going forward, which I think is doubtful, we keep in mind that the law is literally up in the air with regard to what the Michigan Supreme Court will do, probably not for another year. And that finally, that 9 specific households are at play to try to prove that they will be adversely affected by noise coming from the proposed project. Not those specific instances from those specific residents. I, at this point, would not recommend an intervention. That is the basis for my legal opinion today.
Questions for legal? Okay, anything further, John? Okay, we'll put you on standby.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Collins, number 2.
Make a statement. I want to be clear that I am not opposed to the intervention per se. I just think that there are so many questions, and you heard some from our corporate counsel. So many questions unanswered, so much that we're not aware of that may change the course of this at any given time, that at the current time, I cannot support.
Any others? Commissioner Martis.
One final comment. I would point out that 5 counties, upon the advice of their legal counsel, have already joined in and intervened, including Genesee County, in which Foster Swift is not involved in any way, shape, or form. And Livingston counties intervened, and they are represented by Cole Stoker. So I understand Attorney Galuli's concerns. I'm highly confident that this is the right path to move forward.
Final comments before we call the roll. Hearing none, I have one final comment. Should we decide, as it comes up to the vote here, to intervene, does not mean that the county has taken a position that we agree or disagree with wind and solar farms. The county is on record. We are on record here by resolution and believes that those decisions are totally up to the jurisdictions. We would only be intervening to assure the developer and the PSC are meeting all the standards as issued in citing renewable energy projects. It's not whether we're for or against this. Would the clerk please call the roll? Deputy Clerk.
Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Daly absent. Just gonna cross this out. Commissioner Krasny.
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Stimpson.
No.
Commissioner Tillotson.
No.
Commissioner Van Doren,
Yes.
Commissioner Ungst,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Yes.
5 yeas, 4 nays.
Motion passes.
3 days.
Thank you, everyone, for that healthy discussion. So is there any other unfinished business? Oh, new business. Oh, community host agreement, okay. Any questions there?
I move that we adopt that we honor this request as printed.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Bartis, supported by Commissioner Blanco. So this is to enter into the community host agreement is what we're voting on.
Yes.
Okay.
I can read it. To recommend to the Board of Commissioners that the county administrator be authorized to enter into negotiations to draft a host community agreement for the Rouget Farms and Glacier Meadows project and authorize the board chairman to sign same following review and approval of Corporation Council. May I add a comment, Commissioner Van Dorn?
Go ahead.
Just so everybody's aware, if we don't enter into these agreements, the developer then under state law gets to negotiate an agreement with any, I think, nonprofit entity within the community of their choosing.
Right. Questions, debate? Hearing none. Commissioner Collins.
I assume we will have a chance as a commission to review this prior to it being signed.
Sure, absolutely. Any other questions? If not, would the deputy clerk please call the roll? Workouts to do it.
Commissioner Ungst,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Daly absent, Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis,
Yes.
Commissioner Stimson, Commissioner Tillotson,
No.
Commissioner
Keep on going.
Van Doren,
Yes,
8 yeas.
passes.
7.
7 yeas. I'm sorry.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? New business, September board meeting. Administrator Murphy.
Due to the MAC conference being September 9th, 10th, and 11th, there's been a question as to whether the Board of Commissioners meeting should be moved from the evening meeting on the 9th to a daytime meeting on the 16th. And the Ways and Means Committee met yesterday, and they did agree to move their committee meeting from the 8th to the 14th. So the question before you is to whether you would like to move the Board of Commissioners meeting to 1:30 on the 15th.
I so move.
Support.
16th, I'm sorry, I don't have a calendar in front of me.
We'll get it right there.
Yeah.
Motion by Commissioner Martis, supported by
Support.
Commissioner Blanco. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, we will be meeting on the
16th.
16th at
At 1:30 here.
here in the chambers. Thank you very much, Madam Administrator. We're now on to public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Commissioner
quick,
Krasnick.
I have a quick statement. I'm not sure if it should be better in new business or commissioner comment, but I think we should sit down and look at the way our agenda is for these meetings, because I feel like there's a lot of people that would love to be a part of this meeting, but given the fact that we go into a lot of comments and stuff through our various committees, that we could maybe streamline the agenda a little bit better. I have some very important constituents that are here that have been through this meeting, and I'm sure they appreciated my update on the IT and equalization, but we have Mrs. McClellan here who took a better part of her afternoon to be here. So I'd like to sit down with you sometime at your leisure to work through this agenda flow.
Always available, Commissioner Krasny. Any other new business? Public comment. White House government updates, Matthew Whitty. 3 minutes, Matthew.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Van Doren. And, I'm happy to address the entire commission today, and frankly, the rest of the people in the room, about whitehouse.gov. Hopefully, everyone's aware that on July 16th, our president addressed the nation with a primetime speech about election security. And those of you that weren't able to see it, please go to whitehouse.gov. It's a 35-minute speech. It's available in its entirety unedited for everyone to see. Whitehouse.gov is the place to go. Also, at that same site, and I'll say it again, whitehouse.gov is all of the declassified information that supports what the president presented to the American public. And it's very important that everybody in this room be aware of it, okay? I've been here quite a few times talking about election security, kind of screaming it from the rooftops. What the president revealed, I think, really, I don't want to use the word vindicates, but brings home what has been discovered. I've been part of the discovery team in terms of the irregular mathematical trends that are apparent in our election data. And what the president revealed is that our election systems are not secure. We have declassified evidence, proof of foreign interference in our 2020 election, actually available in all elections, okay? Because our election equipment, as currently designed, as currently certified, is not secure against foreign intrusion. What that means is, we are a representative republic. Our Constitution guarantees us a Republican form of government in which the citizens choose their representatives. We know now through what's been proven that our election systems are not secure. Essentially, we are not truly choosing our own representation in government. That's what I see it comes down to. Now, following that, there was a 100-day plan, because we're actually within 90 days now of the upcoming midterm election. But there's been a 100-day plan that was proposed to CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, that is responsible for election security. I won't go into the details on that. Please take a look at whitehouse.gov, get all the background yourself. Part of the solution involves hand counting elections, okay? Whether or not we can recertify our equipment and use it, it needs to be verified with a full precinct level hand count across the county. And this is the time now to begin to train those people, okay? There should be, hopefully you're getting official from the top down on that, but we the people have to demand it. It's not something that can be left to chance in this case. We've got less than 90 days. So I just wanted to bring that up to everybody. Whitehouse.gov is the place to go. Hear the president's speech. And if you care to, please take a look at the declassified information, because what we learned is truly shocking. And I thank everybody.
Thank you. We have a Lindsay Brayton would like to discuss block cameras. Lindsay, your name and residency.
Good afternoon. Lindsay Brayton. I'm in Onstead at 7153 Brooks. And I would like to address that flock cameras have been seen in Adrian, and I believe there's not enough information about them for them to be out right now. There are many areas that are deciding that these flock cameras are a Fourth Amendment violation, that they illegally search and keep information on all citizens, and that this is a violation of an amendment to the Constitution. I would ask you to intervene and have these flock cameras removed until there is more research done on them, and we can have some more laws in effect on who gets this information that is compiled by these AI data information collecting systems. There have been at least 24 reports of police officers using this information for their own private use and being removed from the force, and litigation is going on with these people because they have used this information to stalk and to harass their exes or people who they didn't like. And these flock cameras collect a lot of data about where people are located, where they're going, where they've been. And so I believe that these flock cameras should be removed from Adrian and from Lenawee County, at least until we know exactly what they're doing, what they're compiling, and where that information is going. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Name and residency, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sam McDermott, and I'm a developer with Invenergy, a US-based energy company headquartered in Chicago. I wanted to reach out to introduce myself and make you all aware that Invenergy is currently developing a proposed solar and battery energy storage project in Macon Township. The Maple Bend project is expected to include approximately 150 megawatts of solar generation and 150 megawatts of battery energy storage. Maple Bend represents a significant investment in Lenawee County and is designed to contribute to Michigan's growing energy needs while supporting economic development. Through the development process, Invenergy is committed to engaging with local communities, landowners, and elected officials to ensure that accurate information is available and that questions and concerns can be addressed transparently. I have my business card and it's got my contact information on it. Happy to share it with the board and would welcome a conversation on our work in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment? Name and residency.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Ethan McClellan. I'm from Palmyra. I'm here today on behalf of the residents and community members who came together through DFLOC Adrian. Over the past few weeks, we've had conversations with people throughout our community about the use of flock cameras in our county, answered questions, concerns, and more importantly, gave them an opportunity to make their voice heard. I'm here today to deliver that voice to you. We've collected just under 200 signatures from community members who are asking you to reconsider the use of flock cameras. These signatures represent grandparents, parents, business owners, workers, taxpayers, and residents who believe the expansion of surveillance in our community deserves serious reconsideration. We are not here to argue against law enforcement. We understand that law enforcement needs effective tools to keep our communities safe, but the question is, where do we draw that line? Flock cameras are capable of capturing license plates and vehicle information and storing that information to be searched at a later time. The lack of accountability and transparency in this system is alarming. We believe that people who live here should have a say in this conversation. Our concern is not only about what these cameras can do today, but what they may be able to do tomorrow. Technology changes, policies change, administrations change, and once a surveillance system like this is put into place, expanding it becomes much easier than pumping the brakes. Over the past few weeks, we went to the public with this issue and we were met with overwhelming support. As I said, just under 200 people signed the petition I have in front of me today, and I believe this shows us that there is more than enough concern in this community to warrant another conversation. We aren't asking for you to ignore public safety, we are asking for transparency and accountability. And most importantly, we are asking you to reopen the discussion on flock cameras and give the people you represent a chance to voice their opinions. When hundreds of people come together and say we have concerns, I believe it's your duty to listen to them. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I request that you accept this petition and circulate it amongst yourself as a baseline evidence of the concerns that residents have in this invasive technology.
Thank you. Public comment? Any other public comment? Commissioner comments? Commissioner Collins?
Just want to make the statement for those remaining that you heard the reason for which I made my decision on the intervention, but the board has ruled, the board has passed, and from this point forward, I'll support that decision and what goes with it.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Martis?
Quick comment on flock. Of course, I've been opposed to it from the beginning. I think Senator Runstead introduced legislation that would make flock cameras data only available as a result of a warrant. That's something that I would certainly take a look at, moving forward. And I hesitate to say this, but I just want to say that, frankly, Commissioner Stimson's baseless, and unnecessary comments about me and both Foster Swift just stand as further affirmation that, to my constituents, that they did the right thing in electing me here.
Yep. Commissioner comments? Commissioner Collins?
But it should be known, we have, as far as Adrian goes and their flock cameras, we have no authority to tell them they have to
City,
take them
right.
down.
Within the city, correct?
Or even at Lowe's or other private businesses.
Exactly, yes.
Just one closing comment, final comment. I want to, we'll talk what, in relation to the comments that Terry made, is that, this was a good, healthy, professional debate today. And I appreciate that. I mean, as we have all done in our terms of serving as county commissioners, we vote motions up, we vote motions down, but when we leave here, we come together as a consensus and move ahead for the people of Lenawee County. So thank you, everyone, for that. Commissioner Krasny.
And that's why we elected you as chairman, Mr. Chairman. You're a
Thank
great leader.
Thank you, Commissioner Krasny. Any other comments, announcements? Motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Lord.
A motion by Commissioner Stimson, supported by Commissioner Tillotson.